Okay, so this is rather new to me, but I wanted to talk about all of the effects of forcing individuals to have driver's licenses. Um, Social Security and citizenship are ways of identifying individuals in the country as people who understand something that happened in 1776 with the Declaration of Independence and the Mayflower. Supposedly, there was this Mayflower that came over here into the United States, and all of a sudden, we have the colonialists managing the entire plot of land that has been so-called discovered. There was no discovery made. People were already living here. There were settlements, there were tribes, there were migrants, and there's nothing you can do about the fact that they had their own language. Okay? So all of that changed because of this system of creating a credit score, and they try to block it out with, okay, well, we have freedom of speech. We have all of these amendments. Paper is not going to change the fact that if you don't have the adaptations necessary to survive on this plot of land that you have supposedly discovered, then most likely you'll either be murdered by people who will make it look like a suicide because they're paid to make it look like a suicide, or you'll just die from famine. Okay, which is another reason why we have people living off of their parents, because obviously this system is extremely small. They don't talk about this in politics because they see it as a form of degradation. But when it comes down to it, small businesses and large corporations have filters that are nitty gritty filters that barely allow sand to seep through them. Okay, now, with the advancement of technology, we see that all of these chemicals that are being created, okay, are to upgrade capitalism and to continue this system of checks and balances. But we also have people who understand that they've been living in a few states in the United States. They get bored by it. They get bored by strip malls, gas stations, having to have a driver's license, and they leave the country. Okay? They leave the country because of this filter that only allows you to have a driver's license from one state. You can't live in multiple states. Even if your parents are divorced, one parent lives in one state, another parent might live in the same area, but in a different state, or the other person, guardian, whatever, divorced party might live in a completely different part of the country. What that does with this whole new border wall fascination that should not be there, that is totally limiting people's human rights. Honestly, it should just not be there. It's so messed up. If people want to live in a certain part of the world and they're capable of walking over there, they should totally be allowed to stay there. Maybe not necessarily in the home itself, but people have been building houses right next to their neighbors since the beginning of time. Okay? Why they're creating a border is beyond me. Okay? So that's that. But I don't want to focus on the border wall that's being built that should not be there. Okay? I want to focus on just how messed up of a country this actually is, where they're open about not hiring individuals because of aesthetic preferences, and because employers are allowed to fire whoever they want. Okay, what that comes down to is the progression of continuous ritualistic sexual exploitation of women that are hired in the workplace, because they're only hiring people that, frankly, when it comes down to it, they prefer to fuck. And so what ends up happening is these private school girls that are going to school in their institutions that their parents paid lots of money for and are wearing private school dress skirts, and like sometimes they'll like lift it up a little higher to see their legs a little more to get better grades. And you know what? You don't even know that's what's happening. Okay, so America does breed prostitution. If you don't have money, they'll accept, like, you know, the thin, lithe types to go strip in those small businesses where those devil bulls are running their corporation. Okay, so it's not a safe country to live in. School shootings happen because they have access to weapons that they shouldn't. And in political shows, they're not talking about the main issues at all. Okay, you should be able to travel from one state to the next without having to close down one bank account and open another. It's like moving to an entirely different country. Okay, credit score wise, if you go into any other major city in the United States, it's nothing like New York. It's nothing like Miami, and it's nothing like California, which are the outer seaport regions of the United States. The inner parts of the United States, where, okay, maybe there may be less tornado warnings, but they're ghetto. Okay, they need to be like, when you apply for a job using a job application, why are they asking for a form of identification? Why are they asking for what you consider yourself to be, whether you're Native American, whether you're white, whether you're African American? How are we progressing in this society at all if we continue having to identify ourselves as a particular type of race in a world where people are that mixed, where they don't have to, they shouldn't have to?